What do you think about Jeff Bezos saying that he wants to remove physical currency and have everything being like an automated electronic system of tracking money and purchases, transactions?
I don't know.
That scare you?
No, it doesn't scare
That
me.
scares me.
Why?
Because then we have no physical form of currency and everything is tracked all the time and they know exactly what you're doing all the time. Just one more push to the global world order.
It's easier. We live in America. There will always in our country. We're the Wild West. You know, we still believe in that anyone still has the right to say something, and that the public has the has a good pull on the world strings. I still think. I think even at local level, we have some more power than a lot of other places have, and that power is like influence, right? So okay, let's say a mayor is always getting shit on.
Who?
A mayor.
What is that?
A mayor.
A female
A
dwarf?
mayor. No, Mayor. A mayor.
Oh, a mayor.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
Okay. So let's say a mayor is not doing a good job, but trying their hardest and still has a good following. They get voted out, and somebody corrupt goes in. We don't want that even more corrupt, right? Now we're fighting over that, but at least we're fighting over it. You know, a lot of countries still can't do that. I mean, there's a lot of democracies out there, but the true democracy that it was supposed to be is really what I'm worried. If we're saying scared, the idea of everyone really having a say disappearing is what I'm fearful of more than how
I'm very afraid of that.
than how we spend currency, because if a true democracy is gone, then there won't be a choice. You know, at least if we're all doing that, the majority will have a choice to say we're all doing this, and there will be maybe a minority, maybe a silent minority at this point, that's like, we want to use cash, but they can still levy in our courts to try and do that in their area, right?
But you don't think they're bought out and owned by these rich globalists that it makes you just kind of gives the illusion of freedom that we have these things in our control? Like, that's what I'm starting to think more and more as time goes on. I'm starting to think there's an invisible hand that moves things and wants to direct your attention to look over here and don't question this.
It's not for us. It's not supposed to be invisible. You can use.
It's hot as hell in here, right?
I'm okay. My clothes breathe.
Yeah, mine don't. This shirt is not.
I'm wearing an extra. Yeah, it's freaking. You're wearing.
Woo!
My clothes breathe.
Toasty.
I'm not even. But back to the point. I think that yes, there is maybe an invisible hand, or like there is an upper echelon of hyper rich and maybe nefarious and evil,
like BlackRock.
Yeah, okay. I don't want to start taking shots. I don't know enough about them.
Well, they're buying up all the single family homes all over the country cash so they can own everything, so you won't have to own a home and you have to pay rent instead. So they want to remove assets from you and remove capital from you because you won't be able to access that asset anymore.
I think that the American housing market will always have, if you really, it's becoming so much harder, but you still can work for it. It's going to become like 30%, I think, of people who actually own homes, which is really bad. But
got to buy them up soon. Even the mortgage rates are
I don't think that if BlackRock tries to monopolize the housing market, we have checks and balances in our judicial and governmental systems that will probably stop them.
They can buy whatever they want.
Yes, it's a free market, but you don't have to sell whatever you have.
You don't have to sell, but again, like they're an endless, bottomless money pit, and
but there will still be people who won't sell. But yeah, eventually, maybe eventually, but that's just okay empirically, like yeah.
And then we rise.
Yes, but I think
that's when revolution happens.
Well, if you want to talk about Red Rising, we could talk about Red Rising.
We have to talk about Red Rising. I'm talking about Matt Rising. I'm talking about me.
You won't be alive when that type of stuff happens.
You don't think we're like on the cusp of potentially a revolution in the next like 10 or so years?
No.
With like poverty levels going the way they are, and automation and AI. Once AI finally gets us,
because I think as a society we're actually we're agreeing that violence majority is bad.
But violence is through the roof everywhere, especially in major metropolitan areas.
I mean, like,
it's literally through the roof.
But we all still agree that it's bad. I think maybe we'll have a sort of anarchistic movement. I don't think we'll have a full-on revolution. I think we'll have if you want to call it a revolution, yeah, we might have a rebellion, But that's such a, to use that word is very, very unpatriotic. Think about all the people who have already bled or got sick or fought as hard as they could to give us the choice to even do that. Would they have wanted us to do
It's
that?
patriotic as hell. Revolution is what made this. That's what patriots did. They revolted.
But who are you revolting against?
Revolting against the globalists that wants to silence us and just
And
make
who
us.
is that? You need to have an aim if we're
That's
going to
the
fight.
Rothschilds. That's the Rockefellers.
Why?
That is
You don't know them.
because they have all the money that's buying everything.
But who are you to tell them after they worked in this country the way they did, or got lucky the way they did in this capitalist economy?
If they're removing your freedoms, you can tell them that.
How,
If they're stifling you-
what freedoms are they?
Well,
removing?
I'm just using the example of the housing market. Let's just say 60 years go by and 90% of the general
But
housing
it's
market is
not
owned
a
by
right.
companies.
It's not a right to own a home.
It is talking the right. It's in the Constitution that it is a right for a man to
you
own
have the
pro-
right-
life, liberty, and fucking your
own
house.
his property. But if their property, it's their property. That's the truth
But
of
they're
it.
an entity.
They are
They're a faceless corporation.
a person. People run that corporation, and those
And they're just
people.
in their eyes wide shut parties, just killing hookers and just taking more stuff from
I'm
us.
not
And
sure that's what they're
that's
doing.
exactly what they're doing.
You don't have any proof of that,
I saw Eyes Wide Shut with Stanley Kubrick and Tom Cruise.
Matt. Okay. I believe that I think there will be some sort of movement of change. There needs to be. But I think that we're due a comeback, not a revolution. I think our country's mentality has to change. We are America, not we 1776, that's no longer America. There were slaves then, different ideologies. It was smaller. America's huge. The idea of America and its freedoms and its peoples and its power, its influence, its capacity for violence, are vastly, vastly greater. I mean, we were like an empire at one point. True.
Wouldn't you argue that everyone's capacity for violence, just over the course of technology improving and nuclear arms being out there, it's all increased across the board, and it's just more high stakes?
I think it's less across the board, but it's definitely a dangerous world we're living in. It definitely is a world that I understand what you're saying, that there may be too much control. They may say we have too much freedom for our own good, and they'd want to control that. And that's
Stifle it.
Yes, and that's what you're afraid of. But I think that there are checks and balances for that, and that it's not just this is how this is gonna go because this person says. That's not how it goes. It goes through a lot of systems of government with us. We have to. That's why it takes so long. That's why it's so.
Yeah, I think our government's corrupt. I don't trust them.
I'm not sure they're corrupt,
I'll
and it's
tell you.
only gonna become us.